Pat's Day, King of the Dot, Stay Forever went down this past weekend, February 25th, 26th. We're about 4 days removed now from the entire event. There were a lot of people in the building, including us, me for 1 day, Amy for 2 days. So let's fucking talk about it. Where do we begin, Amy? Is it highlight of the night? Do we go in chronological order of the battles? Do we go with the nostalgic effect? Do we go with holy fuck, we saw Jin?
I know.
Where do we fucking begin? I was talking to someone on Reddit, and I said to them, I've seen Eminem perform twice, Jay-Z multiple times. I've seen Michael Jordan play twice. I've seen LeBron James. I saw Shaq and Kobe together. I've been to like so many UFC events, right? Bellator events, this, that. This is the best event I've ever been to of anything. It was wild. And for you, it was your first ever battle rap event. So, I mean, if you're going to wait it out for like a decade or more, you fucking struck at the right time.
Hey, I do what I can with my timing.
No, for real, though. Insane. Obviously, I think probably start with day one.
Sure.
We were both there for day one. But again, where do you start? Where do you start?
Oh, you got me all choked up here. Well, man, yeah, I mean, where do you start, right? But like if we want to give it a fair shake, I suppose that we start at the first battle, which was Real Deal Loso.
Which was surprising.
That was the first one.
No, I mean, he's the champ. Well, the only reason he's not the champ is because he gave it up, right? And it wasn't like he gave it up 2 years ago. It was recently. So that was surprising. But yeah, okay, let's start there.
I feel like I was surprised that was the first battle. So I already started the night off kilter. I didn't think that would be the first one. And I thought it was great. I mean, like we're about to sound like a broken record, right? Because we're both gonna sit here and be like, this was great and that was great and everything was awesome and holy shit. And so
funny. I was worried about that. I'm like, fuck, we're just gonna talk about it. People are gonna be like, yeah, I know, I saw it.
Right.
But whatever.
But yeah, I mean, I think that I don't know that Loso gets quite as much of a look from King of the Dot fans as some of these other guys. I think, and not to skip ahead, but like he and like Pathogenic XQZ, I think that they were not what people were looking at on this card as the like, holy shit, I can't believe they're there guys. And I think most of them pleasantly surprised a lot of people. And I like Loso and Real Deal. I like Real Deal anyway. Loso was fun though.
Yeah, no, that was a great battle to kick it off. And I agree with you too. The Losos, the people like that on this card, XQZs, Pathogenics, unless there's something that's not out in the public where they were real close to Pat, they just seem like they weren't the showcase people that people came to see, and that's not a shot at them by any means.
No.
And yeah, Loso was great. He had some great Pat bars plugged into his rounds. Real Deal, like you said, we're both a big fan. Most people are. How the fuck you be a fan of battle rap, not a fan of Real Deal? Sure. So they kicked it off very well. Real Deal, again, we were just talking about this, the critty in those big red boots or whatever. I can't can't moonwalk steel toe boots on, but I can critty in them big. I don't even know what a critty is, but it was funny. That was funny. And one of my most things that stuck out, and I've watched the pay-per-view now 3 times, and I was there that night.
Right.
But even from that night, like it stuck out right away. And from watching that battle now a few times on the VOD, the talking about battling URL rappers, he said Surf would drug you through this, like the Narcos line, drug deal through subtitles like Narcos or whatever the fuck it was. I'm butchering the line. If anyone, please don't think that was it. I don't want to fuck Loso's material up, but that was fucking fire. That was his first too, so like that got the crowd ready to go, because the doors open at 3 and we didn't really kick off till like 5-ish, so we weren't there quite at 3. But if you're standing there for over 2 hours, around 2 hours, you need something to get the crowd going. And that really did, bring the energy up in the crowd. Real Deal was dope as shit. And then they had what, franchise versus Saint, was it? Or was it Myverse versus KCJ?
You know what's so funny? I was just thinking about this earlier today as I was looking through my pictures on a side note. Day one, I think we both agreed was like both of these days, right, had names that we wanted to see. Like for me, like I was like, oh my gosh, Thesaurus, I'm finally gonna get to see Thesaurus. I'm like, that was day two, right? And
Yeah.
and you know, I like Madflex and you wanted to see SoulCon and but like day one, I think was the one that we were just like, oh fuck, I can't pick one. And so I realized way after the fact that like as I was going through all my pictures and videos, which I need to send them, I have so many I haven't shown you, but that I was so lost in the day on day one that I have 0 pictures of Myverse and KCJ or franchise and Saint. Like day two, I have pictures and videos of every battle in the order they happen. Like I was like really specifically making it a point to do that because I went back and realized that like in my photo album on my phone, it goes Real Deal and Loso to Smack came out to the 2-on-2. And so it just is a mess. So anyway, if memory serves, I believe Myverse and KCJ were next, weren't they? I might be wrong. I don't remember. It was either franchise and Saint or Myverse and KCJ.
Yeah, then the order I guess really isn't important right now. But let's go with franchise and Saint. Saint, you know, like I think a lot of people know, a huge fan. And it was crazy because
he's so tall.
You know, you get like when we were there that night, you were like, oh, like Saint's been eating, not saying like he's fat or anything, but saying like he's put weight on in a healthy way.
Yeah.
Right? And now you're like, he's so tall. What did you think he was? Like a 5-foot stick?
No, but what he was, dude, he wasn't, fuck off. He was a stick. He was very skinny. But no, like we've even talked about this before that I'm like, when you see him in front of Diz or whoever, and you know how tall these people are, you know, but like in my head, like I said when we talked to him, when I was teasing him, he's like 12, you know? So like when you walk up on the man and he's like fucking 6'2" or whatever, he looks like a child to me. He's a little, I want to pinch his cheeks. I told him this on the show. And so
you did.
I know. So I don't know. Anyway, it just an observation. He was tall.
Franchise, which we like, oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say. So Saint, obviously that was cool as shit for me, like on like a, you know, fan level, because being such a big fan of his and the way, especially the way the world has went the past few years, pandemic, all that bullshit, and just the way battle rap has went in general. I mean, how many opportunities am I going to get to see Saint on this side of the border? Not fucking many, right? So that was cool. And he killed it in his first, stumbled a bit in his second, came back in his third. Franchise though, you know, he's a Toronto guy and he's plugged right in with URL, and you know he's a mainstay over there. He started King of the Dot, Beast Mode, all that. It was cool to see him come back and, you know, represent on this home turf. And I know Saint's in URL now, so we're going to see Saint URL, but there was a lot of talk even during like the Grand Prix, how Saint,
I loved how he was like, yeah, I got a contract, so what?
Yeah. And Saint, if how he would do in URL, because it's like he might be one of those battlers that can perform on both stages, right? And hold the crowd on both stages. So where franchise is a URL mainstay, it's like that is a URL battle, but it should take place on KOTD, right? It's the Grand Prix winner and a Toronto dude who came up through that beast mode KOTD lineage. So that's exactly on the stage that should take place at. And you know, franchise, I like that franchise did change up who he is to adapt to the crowd. Like he came with a URL crowd performance, right? Like kept bringing things back, gun bars. What were you gonna say, sorry?
Well, I was gonna say, do you ever, when you look at him, and like I don't really have a great way of articulating this because it's not the style, like delivery or anything like that, but like, do you ever look at franchise and just get like mini Daylight vibes?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
sure. I've never
that's I was stuck on that last when we were there, but I was just watching him and I was like, you're not like Daylight, but you remind me of Daylight.
I think it's his mannerisms.
Maybe, I don't know.
I think that's what it is, because I wouldn't say, you know, him and Day are like, you know, he's a junior Daylight, like he raps like him, has gimmicks like him. Not that at all. No. I think it's the mannerisms.
But do you feel me?
Oh, for sure. And I've never even thought about it until you just said it. And as soon as you said it, I was like, You're 100% right.
Yeah, right. Okay. So yeah, so that's where I was at during that battle. Like Saint lost me a little bit in the second round because of the stumbles, and I get a little distracted when that happens. No matter who it is. And so I just was kind of like, franchise and Day could be cousins. And that's where I was at for round 2.
The franchise, I think the bar of the entire battle for me, the one of them franchise earned that with the slide and spin like a computer chair. That was fucking crazy. That was crazy. And props to Saint too for coming in franchise's backyard.
Yeah.
You know, you get to a certain level, like I guess Holiday Dawn was in Charron's backyard, so to speak, but
Sure.
that's not the same, right? Like that's not the same. Like, and you could feel it. We were both in the room. Fucking everyone pretty much was on franchise's side. You know what I mean? Either people were in the middle or on franchise's side.
Like the good news is Saint is used to being in that position.
Well, the last leg of the Grand Prix was all in his home turf.
Yeah, but nobody was expecting him to be that guy. Like it was always not like Saint was going to be
for sure underdog for sure. Yeah, he's always in that he's always got his back up against the wall. I agree with you there.
Yeah,
like look at the Grand Prix. He went through a fucking killer's row, like Marv, Diz, Real Deal. Like
right.
Jesus Christ. Well, I guess Real Deal is the championship belt, the shot that he got afterwards, but still, right? But yeah, that and franchise did not let anyone forget that Saint is in his fucking town. He kept yelling that during the battle. You're in my fucking backyard. You're in my town. Lots of energy. So yeah, then Myverse KCJ.
Did you recognize KCJ after they got up there?
Nah.
I feel like you would. No, you still didn't.
It's so strange. It's so strange because I'm like, what the fuck? How do I not know of her?
Maybe it wasn't you. I don't know who I was talking to. Well, she battled not terribly long ago. And I feel like, or maybe it was a little while. It's been a while since I've watched the URL card, but like it was a little while back. But like I remember being like, "Oh, KCJ's on," and that you were like, "Who the fuck is that?" And I sent you a screenshot, and you were like, "Oh." And I felt like you like knew who she was, but you're like, I don't follow enough. I don't follow her. Like, I don't know. But like, you seemed like you knew who she was.
I must have like how after all these fucking years, it's not even years, it's decades now of being a fan of this shit. Like, right? Like how
I really thought once you heard her voice, you'd be like, oh yeah, I remember. I've heard her before.
She was dope. She was fucking amazing. I really liked her. I mean, fucking. Nothing like Myverse did great as well, but I enjoyed KCJ's material more. You know what? It's like Krill.
I don't know. I think Myverse got the biggest reaction with the running with scissors line.
Yeah, probably. I would think so. It's funny because I was just watching that earlier. That or no, I was watching the video on demand trailer on YouTube. Which is 21 minutes long.
No doubt. When I opened that last night, I was like, bro, what?
I know. I was like, is something wrong here? What hell?
Right.
Yeah, though, what the fuck is it? Yeah, so on there that they showed that bar and there was a huge pop in the building.
Sure.
When she dropped that. I was gonna say it's Krill, who obviously you know, but to the listeners, you still show with us. When I showed him the Pat Stay versus Rone compliment battle, like years back, Krill said to me before it even started, he was like, "Oh, I imagine that Rone did way better than Pat." I was like, "No, Pat did great, right? They both did." And I was like, "Why would you say that?" And he's like, "You know, Pat he does comedy and stuff, but the way he comes off aggressive almost no matter what, or condescending, right?" And when we were watching it that time, when I showed him, I was like, fuck, he has a point here. And I found Myverse, like, especially like in her first, right? It's like she's giving compliments, but it's like, would you calm down?
Right.
Like, she's rah, rah, rah.
Right.
Like, yeah, but still dope material. And then when we had the 2-on-2.
Well, then we had Smack come out.
Hey, we called it.
Right.
We called that shit. We called that shit like.
Well, we've only done one show in the last 16 years, but we were talking about it privately before that.
Exactly. I was gonna say this was like around the time the tickets came out.
Yeah.
yeah, we called that. I shouldn't say like we called it, we knew it, but it was like I think Smack will probably be there because, like we both were saying, Smack was promoting the event on their own pages,
Right.
right? And this is before we knew that, like the 2-on-2 that wasn't announced yet. Obviously, Franchise the Saint that was on that full trailer that came out at the end, along with Mike P.
Oh, right.
And I'm just taking a look here at who else is URL. I think that's probably it.
Well, wait, you got
Franchise, Real Deal, or not Real Deal, sorry, Real Sick,
right?
Lou, DNA, Charlie Clips.
Right.
DNA and Charlie Clips, though. I mean, they even said in that battle, you're on URL, we're on your URL, but we have like different deals, right?
Right.
And hey, I get it. DNA and Charlie Clips, how are you going to tie them down? You got to.
You know what's so funny too? I mean, as just like an overview statement is like, depending on what type of fan you are and if you have a favorite like platform, a fucking, especially like, Lou Castro's dope. Real Sick has been one of them guys the last couple of years, which is why Pat wanted to battle him. And then DNA and Charlie Clips, like that 2-on-2 announced that way, in and of itself would have been like, oh shit, I'll watch that in a second. Like, forget the rest of the card. So it's funny that, like, I think we all collectively agreed that, or not we all, but many of us agreed that, like, for just battle rap value, like to watch a battle that is a quality battle and not nostalgia and not that moment and not a surprise and not that battle was probably the best one. And so it's wild to me that, like, at least from what I've seen, day of and since then, while that 2-on-2 did get the fanfare while it was happening when we were in the building, I feel like that one has been talked about almost the least of all of these battles. And that's wild to me because on any other event, that would easily be the headliner.
Yeah, I agree with you. Sorry, Charron actually just messaged me to talk about the battles from that night. And I was like, what the fuck? You hit me with the worst time, Charron.
Tell him to call in. Send him a link. Charron is that's not true. I was gonna say Charron's the only person I walked up to this weekend to be like, do you know who I am?
Yeah, that was funny because when you're not on video, that's another thing. I know this is probably the wrong time to do it, but whatever, because I thought of it. I don't want to forget. I've had a few people actually hit me up and be like, yo, what? You guys aren't doing video anymore? Yes, we're still doing video, but where Amy doesn't do video, there's no point me doing solo video. So every once in a while, we're going to be dropping episodes like this. It'll be just audio and it'll be just me and Amy with no guest. I mean, there might be a guest at some point, but it'll be someone else who's, the video aspect isn't going to make that much of a difference, just so people know. But anyway, yeah, back to that. You were telling me, Charron, you were like, don't pretend you know who I am. And he was like, your last name's Barton. You know exactly who you were.
I was like, you are a creep. It was funny. Yeah, he doesn't miss much. I forgot that we're friends on Facebook, though, to be fair. So where I don't do video on this show and I don't share my last name anywhere else online and I don't post a lot of pictures of myself on Twitter or anywhere like that. That's why I was like, you're a creepy motherfucker. And then after a while, I was like, all right, like we are friends on Facebook. So if you've ever clicked through on Talkback or seen my posts or see me and Jason go back and forth, like you've clearly seen my name. But for a minute, it was creepy as shit. So anyway, so then what? Then we went to what? Rone and Dumb, right?
No.
Yeah, after the 2-on-2 was. Oh no, Disney.
No.
Yeah. My bad.
Yeah, I can feel it. I was like, what is going on here? Organik's like, kill the lights.
So you know what's funny? I don't think I said this to you. I knew that was happening right then. I have if you watch the VOD trailer that you were just talking about from last night, the intro to that trailer, I have that very video on my phone. I knew that's what was coming. And so as soon as they killed the lights, I was like, I'm finally going to get something worth.
Oh, shit.
I'll send it to you.
See, I was.
I think I even elbowed you and said, here they come. This is going to be it.
Organik said, we're going to play a 3-minute video. And then it's going to
be fucking crazy, right?
Yeah. So watch the video, whatever. Then he's like, kill the lights. So the lights go out. They start playing Phil Collins in the air tonight. And fucking, I forget which mass it was. Diz versus Hollow to Dawn, the 1 round
Oh,
surprise
right,
battle.
right,
The
right.
fucking lights went out and you could see the
Yo.
silhouette. Now, I wasn't at that mass. I was watching the pay-per-view, and Diz didn't have anything like over him, like covering him or anything on the pay-per-view. And I was like, that looks like Disaster, just like the silhouette of Disaster, right? And it was. When the fucking lights went out and I could see some movement and someone coming, I was like, it's fucking Disaster. It's fucking Disaster. In my head, I'm like, the lights come on, Diz is standing there. I was like, oh my God. I looked to the right, Hollohan. Holy fuck. Like, wow. That place erupted. Yeah, that was absolutely wild. And it's funny because we did like a discussion show right before well, I guess it wasn't the Friday before the event. It was the Friday the week before the event.
Right.
When they dropped the full card. Just
right.
chat about what was what. And we were both like, can't believe Hollohan's not on this. Doesn't make sense for Hollohan. And we were saying, like you said, yeah, I'm surprised Diz isn't on it too, because he could travel.
But they both had been so quiet. It was suspicious.
And you said too, like Diz could travel. It was like, well, he was at he was like a guest host of some event. I'm pretty sure it was in Florida. I could be wrong about that.
In Orlando. It was in Orlando.
Oh yeah, so it was so like last month. And I was like, yeah, he was in a wheelchair or like sitting in a chair the whole time. You're like, you could fly in a wheelchair.
Right.
And I was just like, I don't think so. I really didn't think we were gonna see Diz or Hollohan.
I wasn't convinced about Hollohan until the last minute. Only because, you know, he had a lot of moments, you know, like he's had some issues of his own and he has challenges and this is really tough for him. And like, I just didn't really think that he would agree to it to come back and do that. So, but they were both so suspiciously quiet. Like I then also felt like if he was like not able to, or felt like it was too much or couldn't, that he would have said something. And instead he was just like occasionally promoting his music every few weeks. So that was like, okay, so you're not fucking dead, but you won't speak on this. All right.
That was a wild battle. And it's funny. I think it's the first time ever in battle rap history where a person choked, not even choked, stumbled.
Right.
And
everybody cheered him on.
It helped. Like, you know what I mean? It made it better.
It was charming.
There we go. I saw someone, I think it was in Talkback, say it was endearing. And I was like, yeah, it was nice.
I mean, it's not, but it is. Like, given the whole circumstance and who it was and like the perfect, you know, storm of details.
Yep.
It just felt even more communal that everybody was kind of helping him.
Yeah, exactly. And it was funny too the way he handled it. I've been gone for a million years.
What do you want? Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't blame him.
Yeah, I mean, fuck, he was a KOTD champion. He was a beast at one time, right? And he's probably just like, fuck, I can't believe this is happening to me. And he did really well too. Once he started getting his bars off, fucking like, you know, times like throughout some of his material and stuff, and there were other moments in the night too. Like shit got real emotional. Credit to fucking, you know, people who are real close to Pat, whether it be Organik, the other staff, the other battlers, or fans, right? Over the years, some fans forged real friendships with him, right? Being in the building, it must have been difficult for them, but especially for like the staff, right? You got to keep the show going.
Right.
Like there was one video that was played with a lot of Pat's son in it. And afterwards, Organik was choked up. You could tell.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was just like, oh, make some noise. And like,
right.
And I was like, you know.
Well, that's what I told Gully after the fact. We were messaging a little bit, and I actually said, like, you know, because like we know Gully and he's always been cool to us. And and I said to him, you know, because like he'd like thank me for coming out or something. And I had messaged him and said, you know, like, actually, I'm sorry I didn't introduce myself. But like every time I saw you, like Gully was crying left and right, which, you know, can't blame him. But I was just like, every time I saw you, you looked like just emotional enough that I didn't want to like fucking intrude. But great show, great job, like great weekend. It all went off well and all that. And he was just like, oh, it's okay. It's all good next time. But like, he didn't even try to say like, no, it would have been fine. Like he was like, oh, it's okay. And I was just like, yeah, dude. And there was a lot of that this weekend, but you know me, like I'll walk up to a brick wall and be like, I know you, do you know me? And like I did that 0 times this weekend because it just wasn't like the right time. So
Yeah, it's
there
not
were
that
so
weekend.
many people that we have talked to and that we know and that I can message or text anytime that like I didn't even go up and be like, hey, I'm the me that you know. Like I just didn't feel like it.
Yeah, I felt the exact same way. Real sick. Like I even told you about this. We're not a battle rap show, and when we do cover battle rap, for the most part, it's King of the Dot. Matt McCann comes on and talks of Bar Wars stuff and whatever else, right? But those are just like fun chats. So Matt's he's not even a guest anymore. You know what I mean? He has his own chair at the building downtown. So like real sick. It's how right? Like it's not gonna line up. We're not just gonna have him on the show like and bullshit, pretend like we're following something that's going on, even though we're both big fans of Real Sick. We watch his battles, but it's like that. It was like I'm not gonna have many chances to speak to Real Sick and line something up to have him on the show. He was standing right in front of me for like 10 minutes, and I've never seen anyone get love like that guy does at a battle rap event. It didn't fucking stop. Person after person after person after person coming up to him, and there are a few pauses where I could have jumped in and been like, hey, oh, blah blah blah, and try to set something up, but that's not what this was about. Especially Saturday, like such a emotional night, right? And the whole atmosphere isn't that. You're not there to network, right? So yeah, so we had that surprise battle. One of the fucking things I love right from the start was fucking the Diz starting off with looking for Hollohan, and he's like, Jeffrey, is that you, Bashir? When he runs up on his house, dude. Oh my god, it's so funny. Like there's a lot of quotables that came from that night, but that's one of the top ones for me. Is that you, Bashir?
Yeah, I don't know how I felt even when it happened that he came out clearly basically wearing the same thing he wore when he battled Pat. But I was just like, I don't like feel comfortable now. This is sad. Diz. I mean, Hollohan was wearing something Pat wore in one of his battles, so not him, but Hollohan. That was what he was wearing when he battled Pat for the title, the chain.
Yeah. And the fucking on the pay-per-view, because of watching it back, or the video on demand, I should say. That fucking chain kept hitting Diz's mic. The people
it was caught. It was like caught around the lab mic. Yeah.
And Organik too, pretty much fucking. I thought he was gonna explode when the lights came on and he screamed and he was flexing. And somebody got a picture of it. It's a fucking iconic picture. I actually thought he was gonna spontaneously combust. Like he was so fucking excited. Yeah, what a whole moment that fucking battle was.
I mean, it's yeah, there's no other way to summarize it. And of course, like it's not a battle I think any of us thought would just be made anyway. So of course, like the gravity behind the whole event was certainly not lacking during that battle as well. So and plus, like Diz has recently been talking about like the challenges they've had with GTX and his injuries and like all this shit like just kind of going wrong and all that stuff. So I think in addition to it being for Pat and we've all seen how he's been talking about Pat and missing Pat since September, that it was even more like I don't know, it was all just so much. The whole weekend was more amplified than it would otherwise have been, but that battle in particular, maybe also because it was Hollohan, to be fair, but
yeah, the whole thing, like that battle was like you said, it was a moment, like fucking the whole thing, the lead up, the lights going out, Diz coming out, Organik fucking exploding, Hollohan being there, Hollohan forgetting his parts of his bars. And like, yeah, that whole fucking thing, Diz up there with a fucking goddamn brace on his fucking leg or a whole whatever that thing was, like, that there were so many things that will never happen again in any battle. Right. That happened in that battle. Right. Like fucking I mean, that's history. And then we had Rone and Dumb.
Right.
Fucking hilarious. Fucking hilarious when I mean, all of it from both sides. But
I know
when
you're gonna be like, a Rone.
when Rone he was pretending he's on the phone with Pat in heaven. Silicon's by now. It's hilarious. Oh man, I just about pissed myself when he said that shit. Because like there's nothing there, you know what I mean? That's not like clever rhyming,
right?
Hard bar. It's Silicon's by now. It's hilarious,
right?
Obviously, Rone's with Barstool Sports, right? And I'm glad that he doesn't catch any flack at that job, and people there, whatever, can understand. Like, well, when he does this, it's battle rap. It's different because he was saying some things I thought were fucking hilarious. But I mean, if I was in his
those
position,
angles though, yeah, like
I'd be hesitant,
the
right?
reverse minority angle and all that.
Yeah,
man. Yeah, I don't. I feel like if I didn't actually do this, I certainly thought it. I feel like I turned around a couple times and looked like, I'll be interested to see what people say about this one later.
I mean, I'm a huge stand-up comedy fan, so in that realm, I always hate when stand-up comedians catch flack for shit, unless you're just being a fucking asshole for no reason.
Sure.
Right, but it's stand-up comedy. It's fucking, there's PG rated stuff. There's fucking very, very vulgar shit like what I'm into, and like they make, I could be watching someone and they have jokes about cancer or jokes about racism, whether it's about white people, black people, Asian people, whatever, and no matter what the other race is, not saying they're always white people doing it, right? They could be another race making fun of another race, and neither one of them are white. That shit's hilarious. And I'm like, this is the fucking forum you're in right now. So certain rules don't apply. And yeah, there was, in my head, I was like, Jesus Christ, Rone, you are fucking brave.
I know, dude. I thought the same thing. And like, I'm not like super quick to like get offended. I'm not easy to offend, but it's easy to put your finger on the pulse of like where, the atmosphere of the world is right at the moment. So
yeah. And especially on Barstool Sports. I mean, that's a major platform.
Right. And so like, I wouldn't say that it was like uncomfortable.
Not by any means.
But it was just watching it unfold in the moment on the first watch in the building just felt very curious.
The thing is, though, that's how that battle's supposed to go.
Yeah.
Dumb versus round. Dumb versus round. Wow. Dumb versus Rone. That's how I'm the dumb one. That's how that battle's supposed to go. So I'm glad Rone also didn't fucking. Well, we saw what happened when Silicon fucking tried to be the new and improved Silicon against Diz. Nobody was looking for that. Nobody was looking for that.
I mean, it was great. That was one of the ones, though, that like it was, as happened many times over the course of this weekend. Like, when would 2023 you have believed 10 years ago that you'd be standing in a building in 2023 watching Dumb battle anybody?
Not at all.
Let alone Rone, who
Not
also isn't battling anymore.
Not at all. Neither one of them. I was at the point in life where I was happy I got to see them battle, not each other, but other people, multiple times. It's like, okay, I'm happy I got to see that as a battle rap fan, because if you didn't bite now, you're not going to get the chance. That's not even battling each other, right? So I already fucking, in my mind, I had thanked them for their performances and wish them well, right?
Right.
So,
but I mean, like, not to skip ahead because we'll come back to this, but like, there was so much of that, like Hollohan and Dumb and Kid Twist, and like, what 10 years ago me would have laughed you out of the building if you told me 2023 me was not only going to see any of these people battling, period, let alone all in one place at one time on the same event in the same city on the same weekend,
the same night.
Right. Craziness. Anyway, so like, I think, and of the ones that were, throwbacks, I think Dumb might have been slightly more surprising than Kid Twist, but certainly not like maybe Hollohan or Jin, but we'll get to that.
And with Jin, that segues perfectly into the headliner of the night. Well, I'm not sure because there was the advertised headliner, and then there was a battle after the headliner, but they were together. There was no break between them. So if it's still the headliner, or if they're two separate battles, but we'll start with Charron versus Hollohan. You tell me first what you thought
about Charron and Hollow.
Yeah,
I mean, I thought it was what I would have expected. I can start with that. I really like both of them, honestly. So
I know you do.
Right.
And
So this was one of the ones that I was kind of like, I feel like it's going to be friendly fire because of the event that this is, but like, I don't want to see this, but also I want to see this, you know? So, I always love Hollow, and when Hollow's on, and so is Charron. To keep it real, I felt like Hollow was a little tighter than Charron was, but you know, for what it was, I think it was super appropriate to the event.
Tighter. How so? Like tighter, like the material was tight, or he needed to loosen up.
Both. He's definitely always less comfortable than most of the people he's battling, or not less comfortable, but he's definitely less fluid. You know, he's not a mover arounder. He's either like really high pitched and really wound up sounding and feeling, or he's kind of somber looking. You know, I love Hollow, but like he's not like the goofy, silly, funny guy, right? So, but I also felt like his material and his delivery of it was just like a tick cleaner than Charron's. And I love Charron, so I had no complaints. I thought this was a great time, a perfect choice of all of the battles for the entire weekend to headline, but of the battles of that day to headline this day. So I was happy with it.
Hollohan and Charron, what I liked about it was it had like
that it happened.
Well, yeah. And I was there. Every element of like battle rap, pretty much, right? Like they were, you know, going off the top at times. Well, especially that 4-bar trade-off. That was fucking insane.
I mean, right? more of that, please. Right.
Yeah. And like there was a little bit of and they traded a little bit of shots, but not too much. And just like you said, right, because of what kind of event this is, they might not be trying to kill each other, but there's a little bit of that. There's a little bit of fun. Charron with the Colt 45, and sure, bring that back. Fuck that. That's Liam. The only thing I want to bring back is Pat's Day. Right, that was fucking beautiful. Both of those guys have a connection on a. I'm not even going to speak on like their personal lives relationship with Pat's Day, but battle rap wise, Charron and Pat and Hollohan and Pat, those are right. Big Pat battles. Well, every time Pat battled, it was fucking big. Wouldn't matter who it was. But those are huge, right? The battle with Charron was a title match, and the battle with Hollohan, I don't want to say that like really like put Pat in like it made people realize, I think, where Pat could hang, because Pat was criticized of not going to the States, not battling certain kind of battles, everything else. That battle with Hollohan, I mean, there was did he battle Calico before that? I'm pretty sure he did. But after Hollohan, anyway, it's you know, he got a lot of looks on Smack, Shotgun Suge, and battles like that. Danny Myers, Tay Rock, right? And they got to show, not that Pat could hang with someone like that, because I think anyone knew he could hang with them, but would it turned out to be a good battle, right? Because sometimes you put two things together and they could both be incredible in their own right, but it ends up being fucking oil and water. The final product does, right? So that battle with Hollohan is a very significant battle in Pat's career, and Charron's battle with Pat. Then, dun, dun, have you ever been hit by a Mack truck? I got a surprise for y'all. Let me bring Illmac up. Whoa, holy shit. Okay, now we're gonna get to see what is this, like a handicap?
Well, so wait, and I don't think I realized that I took this in person, but I didn't process it and realize that I had seen it happen until I watched a clip of this. That when that first happened,
Yeah.
Hollow like dipped back into the crowd a little bit. So it looked like he just replaced himself with Ilmac. Like that, even that was smooth, that it wasn't obviously like it's gonna be a whole nother battle. Like it just looked like an antic from Hollow that he was like, I'm gonna throw Ilmac out here and leave. Because like Charron didn't do that when Jin came out, right? Charron was like all up in Jin's like space and stuff, and everybody was all excited. But when Ilmac first came out, Hollow disappeared, and I was like, oh damn, like they just like switch. It's not even a 2-on-2; they're just switching. Weird as fuck. What else is gonna happen this weekend?
Yeah, what's going on here? Is it gonna be, a handicap match, 2-on-1? Is it like am I gonna see Ilmac versus Charron? Charron said some things to Ilmac, and Ilmac didn't get to defend himself, which we got to make right. So let's set up Ilmac versus Charron. And then, yeah, Charron, my reach so long, I could bring Jin back or whatever it was.
Oh, he said something like, I'm so important, you got to look at my impact or something. I'm so important, I can bring Jin back.
Right. Yeah. And his reach or something goes back.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, whatever it was. Yeah, it's like, what? Shit. What the what the fuck? Where am I?
Right. Literally the whole room was like, screw what?
Where am I?
Right.
What the fuck is going on right now? And it was funny too, because Jin was saying basically, people, a lot of you probably don't know who I am. Not like, saying speech wise, putting that in his bars.
Yeah.
But as I looked around the room that night, I was like, there wasn't a lot of people there in like their early 20s.
I was saying this earlier today too, that I don't think I had said at the second day, they checked our IDs, like my driver's license, but they didn't even ask for tickets. And I was like, man, like, thanks for the courtesy, but like, I look way over 19. And, and so I was telling this story to Kendra, and then I was like, it's funny because now that I think about it, I don't think there's a single person that would have been 19 in there. I don't know if there was anybody in there that was 25.
Yeah. Like it was a lot of people who were maybe a good chunk of them were into battle rap, 10 years ago, like between 10 and 15 years ago or something. And just, time goes on, they get out of it. But every time Pat battled, they still checked back in. Right. So at one point they were connected to it. And it was because of Pat. Pat still kept them in touch with it. So there might have been some of that. But or longtime battle rap fans. And there were some younger people. But it didn't seem like anyone was there because it was like the thing to do that night. Right.
Agreed.
Everyone that was there for that reason. Like they were there for battle rap, they were there for Pat's Day, they were there for King of the Dot, they were there for Smack URL. They were there for a battle rap, exactly what it was supposed to be. So most of those people probably knew Jin. All right. But
I mean, the room there was certainly a reaction.
Yes, that's what I was gonna say. But there's still a decent enough portion that probably weren't fully aware of Jin, because Jin that's early.
Like, you think they were like just caught up in the moment and like with Ilmac, and that's why they were still making some noise, or?
Yeah, well, lots of people made noise, but I'm just saying, whereas like, they might know, right? They like, okay, the people I was talking about like 10, 15 years ago, they were into it for that period. Right. They would know Hollohan. They would know Dizaster.
Sure.
They might not know Jin.
Well,
right, because that's going back a little further. So what I'm saying though is it's not like he needs to explain who he is to anyone, but it's good that he plugged that in properly into his material, so people who weren't there or who don't know who he is, and were there, they're like, oh, okay, now I get why this guy is so important.
Right. Yeah.
Because there's definitely people there that weren't aware of who
Bro,
Jin
but I
is.
think there were also people there who were like, what do you mean 106 in Park? What does that mean?
For sure. And if you don't fucking know 106 in Park or what 106 in Park is, you don't know who Jin is.
Right.
Because that was like what, early 2000s? Very early
Yeah,
2000s.
dude. Yeah. Very, very, very.
And he was obviously battling before that.
Right. Oh, I didn't say it earlier because we hadn't talked about him yet, but Ilmac was the other one. It was, for me, it was Hollohan, Diz, and Ilmac. But I was like, I don't think Ilmac can just not come to this. Never in 10 lifetimes would I go, I wonder if we'll see Jin. But I definitely was like, what about Ilmac? So I was halfway there.
I don't know what the betting odds would have been on seeing Jin battling.
My favorite part
Ilmac
is that you not only were surprised like everybody else in the room, you were doubly like, yo, what the fuck? Double what the
fuck? That's exactly how it went down. It's like, oh my fucking god, wow.
Well, but then I thought it was gonna end up being a 2-on-2.
See, yeah, like I was saying, it was like handicap match, Hollow to Dawn and Illmac versus Charron, or now we're just going to see Illmac versus Charron. How is this going to work out? And once Jin came out, which was completely unexpected, I thought, oh, we're going to see a 2-on-2 now, like we saw with Shuffle T, Marlowe, Kid Twist, and Nameless, right?
Right. Oh, I need to go watch that again. It's been a few months.
That's a great battle. So yeah, what a crazy, insane, just memorable fucking day for day one. Day two, you were there. I was watching it on pay-per-view. We got Pathogenic, was it kicked it off? An XQZ?
Yes.
Pathogenic, similar to franchise, even though Pathogenic's not from Toronto. A lot of hometown love, it seemed like, on the pay-per-view. And on the pay-per-view, there's on the stream, there's like a chat on the side. And like the comments didn't stop rolling up. Pathogenic 2-1, Pathogenic 2-1, Pathogenic 2-1. I was like, I don't know about that. I mean, from here, it wasn't like it was a fucking body by XQZ, but I thought XQZ just, was better overall every round. More polished too, which it's like, this is what it is, right? XQZ has more experience in this than Pathogenic, right? And it's, it's a chance for Pathogenic to prove himself, and it's not like he got murdered, so he still looks good, and it's going to get him prepared for opponents of XQZ's caliber again, because XQZ's no fucking joke. We're not talking like fucking like he is fucking very good, right?
Yeah,
He's
I mean,
above average by far.
Yeah.
Right. So, and then what was followed by that? Paul Rich and Joey Gambello.
Well, wait, I just have to say though, like I pointed out that night, right, that Pathogenic looks like Joker Guyman.
Mike the Joker Guyman. For anyone listening wants to look it up. Former UFC fighter.
But look at what I didn't. But look at what I didn't realize when I said it, which is going to make this battle even better. XQZ could totally be a Florian.
Like a Kenny Florian, Keith Florian family?
Yeah. Yep. 100%. I'll send you a picture or two if you don't see it, but like.
I see it.
Yeah.
I see it.
So that made the battle even better, bro. It's like there's Joker and unnamed Florian. But yes, that was the first one. That one, so like day two, I think started, at least in the building, there obviously was like some energy and stuff, and the same kind of like nervous excitement and weirdness as the first day, but it was a little more chill, just right out of the gate. And I don't think Pathogenic and XQZ, as much as I enjoyed that, was like who everybody was coming to see necessarily. So it seemed like it kind of started off slower than day one did, even though it was a good battle.
Yeah, I think too, from day one, a lot of people probably expended a lot of adrenaline emotion,
Oh, for sure.
energy. You're not definitely not going to be able to recreate that.
Yeah.
Which that's the battlers still came through for day one. Paul Rich, Joey Gambello was up next. Watching on the pay-per-view, Paul Rich's mic dropped or wasn't working or something. So
right.
Being in the building, that would have been awesome. Because Paul Rich might be the loudest person in the world.
Oh my God. Yeah.
It's fucking hilarious. Right. I love it.
Well, though the thing is like from what you were telling me as this was all happening, he did have mic problems, and like that ended up being funny when he like snatched up Joey and was like rapping into his mic and blah blah blah. But like all the other stuff that you mentioned that wasn't that, which everybody saw, sounded like the audio on the stream had some kind of like digital problem and not like the in person, and the mics in the building, like it was not like that. Like you were saying, all the other stuff was all night. It was only Poe Rich that we were like, oh, his mic's fucked.
Oh, really? Yeah, there were other voices being picked up on the pay-per-view on day 2, and other muffled at times. Hopefully they clean it up by the time they can release it to YouTube or wherever they are releasing it. Joey Gambello. Oh, what fucking bar was it? The look at you go. Oh, you an alcoholic too, bro? Look at you go. Yeah, no, that was basically what I expected.
Yeah.
Joey,
I would say that.
Just fucking with more energy than anyone should ever fucking have. And
he's like Rich, Frankie. He's like the Frankie guy.
Frankie Edgar of Battle Rap?
Yeah, man.
Oh, what a compliment that is, especially coming from you.
I know.
Frankie's like maybe your favorite.
That's not true.
How? What? Who?
Shane?
Shane? Oh, Carwin?
Right.
You like that? I didn't know you liked him more than Frankie Edgar.
God, I love Shane. I mean, I like Frankie a lot. Side note, have you seen Jake Shields lose his fucking mind recently?
But that's another show.
I'm just yes or no, yeah?
Yes.
All right. Okay. Yeah, that is another show.
That could be a fucking series.
Bro. So what was up next? Solcon? No, Solcon Frank? Look, I was there. Oh no, you know what was up next?
Arcane?
Nope.
What?
Mindbender.
Doing what?
He came out. It was on the pay-per-view, but like he was up on between battles. He was like, I think I sent you a picture of him and Charron on stage talking. Maybe not.
Yeah, well, fucking, what does that tell me? That tells me Charron's talking to Mindbender.
All I'm saying is that, like, hey.
Did he fucking get like inducted into the KOTD Hall of Fame for best fan of all time?
Dude, fucking reaction god though.
I've been telling you this for years. You've never seen anything like this, dude. It's amazing. I know. I'm so glad you got to experience it in real life.
Well, that's what like it's the best part of that is that like it's really exactly what you see in all the videos. Like it's not exaggerated, it's not edited, it's not the angle, like that's that. It's hilarious and awesome. Like there are a couple times I haven't even gone back through all my videos and pictures yet, but like there are a couple times that I had like been recording part of the battle and then could see out of the corner of my eye Mindbender like just reacting over and over and over again. And I was like, well, I'm recording Mindbender now. What battle was I on? Because his face is so fucking funny. So anyway, so yes, Mindbender obviously did not like battle or whatever, but he was next up after that, and then yes, Arcane.
What kind of reaction did Arcane get in the building? Like, was it loud? Was it
so the venue was a lot smaller and there were less people, so I think none of it sounded as massive as all the people stacked up in the first venue the first day. Yeah, people were happy to see him. He definitely got a loud, warm welcome.
Do you think he would have got a bigger reaction on the first day? I mean, him and Pat had him and Pat had a legendary one.
Right. And it was another title match, so like
right. It was a passing of the guard, really, because Arcane was he was that guy up until Pat.
Right.
You had a couple other a couple other people hold it, but not win it again, defend it, anything like that. until Arcane lost to Pat. Well, and Arcane before Pat. See, this is where day one is like, fucking, how do you follow up?
Right.
Right? You know, Arcane and the Saga put on a dope fucking battle. Any other time, it would be talked about a lot more. But it was cool to see Arcane back, because that's another one. Who knows how many are left in him?
Right.
Right. He's not exactly an active battler.
No.
And he also didn't say like he retired, but like Shuffle T said to Kid Twist, how do you retire from battle rap? It's just something you don't do anymore.
Right.
It's like retiring from crosswords. I'm not gonna do it again unless I want to do it again. In which case I'm gonna do it again.
Right.
But yeah, who knows how many more opportunities there will be to see Arcane. That was dope. And then Madflex and Mike P. I see Madflex is happy that he finally got to meet Smack and ask him if what was it? If he goes golfing or something.
Yeah. I like Madflex.
Did you like Mike P's pants?
Mike P, bro, Mike P. So I haven't watched the VOD yet. So I don't know what the crowd angle shots were from that night or that battle that they used, but like I couldn't have been any closer to Mike P where he was on stage and where I was standing. And well, you're not going to be surprised at me saying this because it's me. It was like being at work. I felt like I was looking at fucking puff pastry. Like, you know how it just has all the layers?
Yeah.
Like if you cut into like a croissant, like, except for it was so white. It was like white. And so that doesn't look like it. But like, it was so many different layers that I was like, how can you move your leg? You looked like a worm or a snake or something.
The Ruin Your Day crew, Avocado and them, they made the point to definitely showcase those on the
Did they?
pay-per-view. Yeah.
Well, to be fair, once again, though,
When
I don't know if they were shooting from that side. They were shooting from the front for sure.
When Flex was making fun of them, and you could also hear on the pay-per-view Mike P say, "I'm never wearing these again."
Oh, could you?
Yeah. After Madflex made fun of them, so that was pretty funny. But yeah, that was a good battle. And again, like, you know, fucking, when else will we ever see Madflex versus Mike P?
Right. Yeah.
Right.
You know, I don't know. Here's the thing is like Mike P is one of those guys that like, do you feel like he connects well with the King of the Dot audience?
Well, that was his first time, right? He did a good job from what it seemed like. I enjoyed it. And I really like too where a person that can perform on both stages, KOTD or URL, and they don't change who they are, but they make that minor adjustment. S1 KOTD S1 from fucking Philly. Rosenberg Raw.
Oh, right.
Fucking perfect. Perfect example. What he did throughout that tournament, or the season, I should say. I like, that's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Rosenberg Raw is still Rosenberg Raw, but he knows he's on a different stage, appealing to a different fan base. And he didn't change what he does, just slightly adjusted. And that I found that Mike P did a great job at doing that Sunday, this past Sunday. Yeah, to answer your question, I think that he could definitely appeal to the KOTD audience.
More than Madflex?
Well, no, let's not get crazy here.
Okay.
I'm just saying, no. But no, I also don't think either that, like, Madflex fucking, you know, got so much love from the crowd or even the pay-per-view audience, where Mike P was not even given a fair shake to get his shit off, right? It was awesome. I thought that was a really good battle. I actually thought like that was a battle where it was, out of all the battles, looking at them, probably the most competitive. Or do you think one was way better than the other?
No, but I don't think you could say that about almost anything this entire weekend. Like, to say that one was more that way than others. Like, I think most of them are pretty.
I think I could probably pick a winner in most of the other ones, but only like I haven't watched any of them yet, like from judging perspective, because they're not judged, so it's fucking stupid to even debate it, right? Like it's performances. And with that one, I found it was pretty like even back and forth. Preference, I think somebody could edge one or the other for preference. Sure. And I hate saying this shit because, like I've told you before, I hate when people say, edged it 2-1 or some shit. The weakest fucking prediction in all of battle rap. Right. When a battle's coming up and somebody says, oh, it's going to be 2-1 either way. What the fuck are you talking about? You people that do that need to stop it. God, I hate that. No surprises for day 2. We didn't get, Mook versus Lux number 3 or anything. Great. But we did get Thesaurus versus Kid Twist as the headliner.
Yeah, man.
If there's ever been a KOTD battle.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Holy shit. Direct should have been there for that shit.
I know. He wanted to come, but I think he was at an event in Atlanta. I don't remember where. Somebody was telling me where he was at.
That's 2 dudes with a lot of history. And Kid Twist said that this is it. Well, he's retiring from battle rap again. Organik even asked him, is this the last one for you? And Kid Twist said, yeah, this is definitely it. So more history. I don't know if Thesaurus will ever stop battling. I think that guy just loves it too much.
I mean, so what? I'm
not mad at it. He still puts on amazing performances.
Right.
So you really wanted to see those two.
I would love that one.
Did it live up to what you wanted?
Well, it was another one of those things that, like, I don't think we expected it to be 33% regular battle, 66% fucking compliment battle, right?
Yeah, not at all.
So I couldn't have anticipated that. But, like, yeah, I mean, Thesaurus got all his bars off and sounded good, and Twist is still pretty smooth and easy to listen to. And they clearly had a lot of respect for each other and were really happy with being up there with each other and being able to be there for this whole thing. And that one was a lot more, to me, like, that one was the one that was very, like, palpable. Like, you could feel that they were both, like, very happy and very sad and very excited and very satisfied with what they were doing, and very, like, more, almost maybe more so than anybody else the whole weekend visually, to me, other than, like, Organik maybe. So that one was like a good battle, and it was fun, and it was great to see both of them, and it was fun that it turned into a compliment battle, but it also just, like, felt like it was, like, the perfect culmination of this completely fucking fever dream weekend, and that they knew that it felt that way and that they were enjoying it.
Yeah. And for you, first ever battle rap event you ever attended.
Yeah.
I mean, how could any battle rap fan not love this?
Dude.
But yeah, so I take it you were pretty fucking happy.
I mean, yeah, I was happy. I mean, I was telling the girls that, like, if you had a bug, in my apartment for the last 15 years or 13 years or however long, you would undoubtedly tire of the number of times you've heard Amy say Thesaurus, Illmac, Hollow every so often, like but like this entire Pat, and that's what this is all about. But, like, I was trying to explain to her, it was so funny that this event was obviously a lot of, middle of the time, not like super old school, like, Jin, but, like, older than the current generation. A lot of the big hitters and the big names and the people that you wouldn't think you'd see again and all that. And so for me to be like, wow, like, if you'd have told me in 2023 on one event, I would get to see Hollow and Charron and Thesaurus and Illmac and Diz and Hollow, and, like, all in just all, and Hollohan and Real Deal and Madflex and SoulCon and Arcane, and I, like, my head would have spun off my shoulders, and DNA and Sick,
Charlie
like,
Clips,
bro,
Sick.
what? Yeah, like, I wouldn't have even believed you. So that has always been why this, like, I jokingly was saying, I said a Avocado before we were talking before the event, or like the week before, and I was just like, I really make sure when I'm gonna try something new, I'm gonna do the damn thing. And he was like, oh, great, because you haven't been to an event before. And he's like, it just doesn't make sense. Back when I would have had fun, probably even more fun. Like, I was in college and there were not as many battles coming through Orlando as there are now that were people I was familiar with that I would have cared to like rearrange my life for. And then I moved to New York where there were battles every other second of fucking day of the week. And I was working and in school. It was, I don't remember how many Hollow battled there while I was living there, and I didn't get to go see him.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I might be a little salty if I didn't already, like I've said for years now, that I was so spoiled because going to all those KOTD events, those 2-day events and shit, where it would literally be fucking everyone pick a fucking name, because opportunities weren't there, right? And money wasn't there either. I mean, fuck, we've talked to Ness, we talked to other people about it on the show that said, you know, like it was basically pay your airfare or pay for your hotel. You pay your airfare, you pay the rest of your way. The money wasn't there and the opportunities weren't there. So these guys were taking every opportunity they got, and there weren't as many people doing it. So a 2-day event would be like, you know, Daylight, Thesaurus, fucking Illmac, Bender, Pat Stay, Hollohan, Charron, Step Easy, Tricky P. Like, just the list went on and on and on. DNA, Charlie Clips, whoever it may be, Cortez, like, right?
Oh, Cortez.
Right. So I'm actually very happy that this was your first event.
Right.
Right. Like, my first event was like, I don't know, the headliner was like, oh, what did Silicon say in that battle against Hayward in Orlando, battling some rando named Blicky the Problem, right? Like I'd be pissed if like I was like, yo, fucking, I've been going to events forever and the best one I saw was fucking Blicky the Problem.
Right.
But no, yeah, I know I was spoiled for a long time. So fucking, I'm actually really happy that this got to be your first event and not some pile of shit.
I mean, it was a lot easier to just knock that all out, knock all of them out in one event. So it worked out.
And before we wrap this thing up, Organik did a live this evening.
Tonight. Yeah.
Then this evening doesn't matter much depending on when you're listening to this. March 2nd, 2023.
So did you watch the whole thing?
No, I only was watching a bit of it. He said in August they're doing this again. Not, I don't know necessarily Pat State thing, but doing an event,
right?
In Toronto. Oh, save your pennies, save your looties.
No, I'm trying not to. He also finally said straight up what he's intimated before and what a lot of people suspected, which was he didn't know going into this weekend if this weekend would like renew his interest or if this would have been the last King of the Dot thing.
Yeah.
Because he was like, we were at that point. And, you know, it just felt like, I don't know if maybe you saw this part, but like the Grand Prix, S1, you know, all doing all that, like, yeah, the pandemic happened and everything, but like it also just felt like we lost a lot of support. Like people just didn't care anymore. So,
well, here's the thing. I saw a part of the live that he was talking about. They need the King of the Dot wasn't getting as much attention. Like it's them against the industry and stuff like that. He was saying, and I see people in talkback saying shit like, and also I've seen people affiliated with KOTD have said before, oh, the media, the bloggers, this, that, they don't give enough attention to things that are going on. Okay. Well, okay, we're not a battle rap show, but when it comes to KOTD, I love that shit. You know, I'm gonna give attention to it. Look what we did with the Grand Prix. Like fucking, we don't go around celebrating like, hey, we're the best at this, that, whatever. I mean, look at the fucking coverage we gave it. Right? We tried to set something up with S2. It just keeps falling on deaf ears. Now, for KOTD people or fans that are saying like, you know, bloggers, this, that aren't covering it, I don't expect us to be first in line when we reach out. Right? And some of these people we have whatever level of relationship with, we can get them when they're free, can get them anytime, whatever it may be. Some of them, you know, like there's a few people that, you know, you speak to have never been on the show. You talk to them here and there. You could probably line it up if we needed to. Just have to be a scheduling thing. Now, the people who should be at the front of the line, the battle rap outlets, You would think that there would be shit on there, and there's not. So okay, so they're either those people aren't reaching out, or they're getting the same reaction where they're reaching out to people involved in KOTD events and they're not getting any response. Now, Organik posted on social media, all media requests go to this email. I emailed them, right? Like, I get it, you know, I can contact Organik directly. Doesn't mean I'm going to get a response. Leading up to the event, plus with Ghost Drops, I can only imagine how busy he is. You guys want it funneled this way. This person takes care of this.
Right.
Nothing. So the person taking care of media requests doesn't get back to you. Other people don't respond, or right, like whatever the case may be. And there's nothing set up, and then the actual battle rap shows aren't doing anything. So either they're getting the same, they're going through the same shit, or they don't give a shit to give it coverage, which is really sad. And what's bad about that is where if they know that there's people that don't give a shit to give it coverage, it should be giving it coverage, and then there's other people coming along trying to give it coverage who can give it good coverage, and they just fuck it, don't even respond. You're not going to get coverage. Right. So like, we're getting saying that shit on live. Fans are saying that types like that along the lines of that shit. That's the problem. That's the fucking issue. So I don't know if it's the battle rap outlets to blame necessarily. Right. If they don't give a shit, then they don't give a shit, and that's not right. But maybe they're going through some of the same fucking shit, and this is what they do. Why would you not be like, yo, full access? What do you need? Right? Like, doesn't make any fucking sense.
I mean, no.
Well, that and no fucking chairs on day one. Those are my complaints.
You didn't even got there, and there were plenty of places to sit day two.
Oh, day one was fucking no chairs. Like Lush one said, when DNA and Dizaster battled the first time on KOTD way back in the day. Shout out to KOTD for having the strongest calf muscles in battle rap. Because shit like that.
Right.
It's dope though. What a crazy fucking weekend. I'm glad you were up here for it. Also, probably give a shout out to Steffi Lynn for being so accommodating.
Definitely.
Yeah, and food too. I also got a bitch about that. Have some food. CJA knows what I'm talking about.
Boy, CJA was definitely there.
And hungry. and fucking furious with the lineup. The lineup at the food truck. That was so fucking funny. He comes up, food, looks at me, he's like, oh, fuck, that line is long.
You know what's funny? There's a grocery store right across the street too.
Yeah, but you couldn't leave. When I went to the dispensary, the guy told me, he's like, I'll let you go because it's early in the night, but you can't leave and come back.
Well, the lady who let me in after she made me throw away my sandwich told me that I could leave and come back.
And she threw out your sandwich. What a shame. You don't bring sandwiches to a fucking bar.
And then I brought avocado lunch meat. Did I tell you this?
No.
I didn't bring him lunch meat, so I brought him a cookie because I've been telling him for years I would send him some shit that I make, and I just never have because I'm a terrible person. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna bring him this cookie. And so I told him like the night before, and he was like, fuck yeah, man, finally, I'm so excited, blah, 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 right? Well, I know I'm gonna be in this place from 3 to like at least 11, and that's a long time for me to not eat. So obviously the sandwich didn't work, but there are other things that are smaller and thinner and easier to shove in a pocket of a purse. So on my way out the door, I grabbed, there's these little like 1 serving size, super salty packages of like lunch meat. And they're like the perfect snack size. And so I had grabbed a couple from the grocery store a couple days before. And on my way out, like Steph and I were going to go, funnily enough, go eat before the event. And so we had left maybe around like 1:30. So we could get down there and eat. And I was like, well, let me put this lunch meat in my pocket of my hoodie. And then I'll have it, in a couple hours when I want something, and I'll just have some protein and I'll feel better or whatever. Right. And so I'm like so concerned about getting like this fucking giant cookie and this lunch meat in the building because like the day before they made me throw my food away. And I was even like, well, what if I'm diabetic, you know? And like she didn't give a shit. So I was like, oh no, how am I gonna get the stuff in the building? And like I already told him I was bringing him a cookie. It was just this whole thing, right? And so I go in or I'm going in, and the lady that like checks my purse pulls the cookie like half out, just kind of looks at it and is like, and puts it back in. Well, I had put the lunch meat in my hoodie pocket earlier in the day, when we left, and I had forgotten. So she didn't pull it out or anything. So we get in the venue. I go see Avo, I give him the cookie. We talk for a while. I go find stuff. We walk around a little bit, see what's happening, where everybody's at. And I finally go back to Avocado, realizing that I have fucking lunch meat in my pocket. And like, what am I gonna do with it now? Like now I just feel weird. And so I went up to him, and Avocado is like Big Jim dude,
Mm-hmm.
So I went up to him and I was like, can I interest you in a little bag of body temperature lunch meat? And he was like, bro, why do you have lunch meat in your pocket? And so I was like, it's not even worth trying to tell the story, but like either way, I didn't mean to bring it in here and I don't really want it. And it's totally fine. It just came out of the fridge like an hour ago, but I don't want it. So I feel like you would want it. And he was just like, fuck yeah, man, thanks, I'll eat it. And so that was my weird experience with Avocado. I love Avo, like I have for years. Kyle, like he's a good dude, but offering somebody lunch meat out of my hoodie pocket in another country was not on my bingo card. So, but that happened. So he had dessert too.
Yeah, he had a cookie. Those cookies were delicious.
Aren't they great? I don't even love chocolate, but I like chocolate chip cookies. Those are good.
Those are good. All right. So I guess we covered all there is to cover. And
can we cover the fact that of all of the clamoring people have been doing for another event or an August event or whatever, I've seen a lot of people going, you should make this Pat event a yearly event or an every 2 years event. And like, frankly, the thought never crossed my mind until I started seeing people in Talkback and on Reddit saying it. And the more every time I see somebody say it, the more and more I'm like, oh, dude, that's such a good idea. Like, it will never be the same as this one was, but like, that'd be a cool thing to do once a year.
I'd attend.
Right?
Absolutely.
So
it's more reasons for you to come to Canada. Telling you.
Oh, can I tell you though? I got so lucky. Like the night I flew up, it had been freezing raining, right? Like that morning or the night before, and it snowed, and like it was just like every kind of shitty weather you could have. And I was delayed. There was a ground stop when I was in, where was I? Detroit? No. Yeah, it had to have been. And we just had to wait until they told us we could go. And it was because the runways up there were frozen. And so I was just like, God damn it. And then, like Friday was pretty cold, but then the rest of the weekend was good. And then Monday was like sunny in the morning and pretty. And I took off my flight from Toronto to Atlanta. And by the time I landed in Atlanta and turned my phone on, there were like 4 of you that had messaged me and been like, you just missed it, and like sending me pictures and video of all the fucking snow up there. And I was
crazy
like,
snowstorm. Pat cleared the skies for the weekend.
Right, man. Like I was like really lucky. I was like by the skin of my ass by an hour each way.
You know what? Pat Stay was up there and he did, that thing he does with his hands before
the maestro thing.
The maestro thing.
We didn't talk about maestro being at the event.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, you called that. You said you thought a Canadian guy would be the.
Yeah. I figured, it's, not necessarily like it would definitely be Maestro, but I figured, there's a good chance he'd be there along with other Canadian acts. Tricky P was there, even though he wasn't brought on a stage or anything, but or at least if he was on stage, he wasn't brought out the way Smack was brought out, and
right,
Maestro and shit. But
right, yeah.
So yeah, Pat did the Maestro and cleared the skies.
Thanks, Pat.
It
was nice to see Melissa there too, and Pete.
In a way, they kind of had to be there, but it's like if they weren't there, you can't blame them because that must have been a lot for them.
I mean, yeah, dude. Definitely.
That's a lot, a whole lot.
Yeah, I mean, I think we talked about that before the event as well. But like, I think you just kind of have to. I think it was probably a good thing though.
What was the gift that she gave Organik?
Melissa or Sam?
Melissa. Day one.
I don't remember. I don't know if I took it in.
Yeah, it was in a red box. He pulled it out, but I couldn't see it from where I was standing. I could see him holding something, but I couldn't see what it was.
I don't remember.
I'm sure he'll probably post a picture or something. Anyway.
Oh, it was the chain.
Oh, Pat's chain.
Yeah. That's what it was.
Oh my God. That is amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Wow. Holy
but she came out on day 2 and was there. Well, so I didn't see her that early on day 1, so maybe she wasn't there longer on day 2, but she was definitely there day 2 hanging out as well.
Wow. What a fucking amazing event. What an amazing weekend. August, you'll be back for all the really downtown fans that want to see you.
Yeah. Oh man, I just shout out to the what was that day 1 guy that
said that you love listening to your podcast through the pandemic.
Yeah, through the pandemic. Like, shout out to that guy.
Yeah, if he's listening. And what, did you get a name?
No, dude. Like, I was honestly like, he walked up and knew my name, and I just really threw me, and I was like, thank you.
Well, shout out to that guy.
Yeah, shout out.
And guy. If you hear this, I don't know, message Amy, the billion downtown, someone.
So there were a couple of people that like clearly have interacted with me or had seen the interaction prior to my coming up in Talkback. Because there were definitely people that were like, oh, hey, so glad you made it. And I was like, thanks. But like that was weird. Like, because especially if you were listening during the pandemic, like you guys weren't doing video either. I've never been on video. You know, I don't use my last name on Twitter. I don't use my last name on Instagram. So like it's more difficult to look me up if you don't know where to find me. So it's just kind of weirded me out that like he walked up to me and knew my name. And instead of like being like, oh yeah, Talkback, or the cookie that you posted, because that resurfaced a couple weeks ago in Talkback, but like literally was like, oh yeah, the pandemic and your show and you're covering the Grand Prix. And I was just like, how did you know me out of the crowd though?
Your hair. Yo, at one point, because I'm tall, like I was near the back of the room and I was just like looking up over people's shoulders and I could look down and I saw your head and I was like, there she is, and I just made my way through the crowd.
I mean, it's good to have a beacon in the night.
Yeah. All right, do you have anything else to add to this?
No, I don't think so. It's just crazy weekend.
Fucking beautiful weekend. It was awesome.
Oh, wait, we did forget, I figure you would want to have mentioned that Organik pulled an Oprah on day 1 night.
Oh, you're getting a blunt. Everyone's getting a blunt. Some motherfuckers I saw walking out like 5 or 6 of them in their hand. Yeah, fucking. You know what? If it wasn't for like the love I have for KOTD and like friggin', whatever, just like relationships we have with these guys, I probably would, if I didn't have any connection to them, I probably would have took 5 or 6 myself. I can't lie, but I was like, I gotta be honest. Like, I'm not fucking ripping Organik off with KOTD. I'm gonna take 1, and I just keep seeing people coming out with handfuls, and I was like,
"What do you mean take 1? Weren't they handing them out still when you walked through? Like handing them to people one by one?
Yeah, you're supposed to take 1.
Oh, I didn't have an option. He handed me 1.
Oh, everybody's taking 1 when I went out. Yeah, Copacetic Soul was standing there with a box of blunts.
Oh, see, I went out the other door. So Cope, I saw a second.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh yeah, because
I went out the door to code check, right?
Yeah. I don't know. I went out and you put your hand, take 1. You were taking fucking 5, 6.
But I was wondering. I didn't really think anything of it until I saw. I don't know if it was in Talkback or Reddit. I don't remember where I was reading it, but like I saw there being, some question or conversation surrounding like, wait, so they were a whole gram and they were pre-rolls and they were not labeled or sealed? Like, is that legal? And I was just kind of like, it was a gift, like it's a gift. They weren't selling it. So I don't know how the law works, but I hadn't taken that in until somebody said it, that I was like, oh yeah, like this is not the required packaging or whatever, which I wouldn't necessarily point out or bring up, but like there's 1,000 pictures of the fucking things out there.
Yeah. Whatever.
So I
I'm
was
sure,
just curious about that. Like, I was like, yeah, but
sure
it's like,
Ghost Drops knows what they're doing. I'm sure they're
that's what
not
I'm
going to
saying.
jeopardize their whole fucking company
No,
to,
but that's what,
to be nice to people.
no, but that's what I'm
Like,
saying. Like, it was crazy that like that was the
yeah.
one comment I saw about it, and I was just like, bro, like, that was cool though.
All right, let's wrap this motherfucker up. For Amy Barton, I'm Jay Kelly. This is the Building Downtown. Long live Pat Stay. We out. Peace.
Building downtown. Building downtown. Building downtown. Building downtown.